Shanti. Om Shanti. Good morning. Am I audible? What thumbs up?
Yes.
Thank you. Bye. Happy Independence Day. It's a really beautiful song where very much connected to today's Murli, where Baba is really bring us back to our Swadharma, our true natural nature, and the basis of powerful karma, which is action. Karma is dharma, it is swadharma, the natural nature. So this original Murli spoken on April 5th, 1981. Today Bapdada is seeing his world transformer and world benefactor children. Since you took Brahmin birth, you have thought about this great task. This is the main karma of Brahmin. What is the karma? To be a transformer and a benefactor is the karma of Brahmin. A human being has to imbibe two special things in his life. What is the goal of human being? Is to imbibe these two special things, which is dharma and karma. Adopt this natural nature and express it through our actions. You have to stabilize in your dharma and karma. Unless you follow your dharma, you cannot have success in life. When you act, dharma means to have special dharana. Dharma, dharana, karma. With the dharana of knowing who I am, your intellect very clearly understands what you have to do. Your dharma, that is your dharana, can be accurate or inaccurate. To perform weak karma is also inaccurate dharana. To have the belief, I am a human being and my dharma is the dharma of a human being, is called body consciousness. The actions you have been performing were wrong because of this dharma of the body. Similarly, the accurate dharana in Brahmin life is, I am an elevated soul. I, the soul, am an embodiment of peace, happiness, and bliss. My Atma, Shant Swarup, Sukh Swarup, Ananda Swarup. It is on the basis of this awareness that your actions have changed. Basis of transformation of your actions is by transformation of your awareness as a soul who is peaceful, as a soul who is blissful, as a soul who is naturally happy and content. Sukh Swarup. It is on the basis of this awareness that your actions have changed. The reason why your actions became ordinary from elevated was the lack of your dharma. which is your dharana of I am an elevated soul, an embodiment of elevated virtues. So, what is your foundation? This is also why the word dharma, atma, generally righteous soul, a religious soul, is used. All of you have become dharma, atmas, have you not? For dharmatmas, wasteful and ordinary actions automatically finishes. First of all, check whether you are constantly stable in your dharma. If you are stable, then your actions would automatically be powerful. Karma will be powerful. The first lesson is, who am I? All of this knowledge is included in the one question, who am I? If you were to create a list of answers to the question, who am I? It would be a very long list. If you were to bring these into your awareness, all this long list of your self-awareness into your awareness in a second, you would remember so many titles because you have the most titles based on your actions. Baba's titles are also your titles. You have become masters in everything, have you not? Nowhere else in the whole cycle would have such a long list of titles as you. See, even the deities do not have as many titles. If you were to begin to write a list of your titles, it would become a small book. The titles of the confluence age are your degrees. No matter how great the degrees that those people receive are, they're nothing compared with what you have. Do you have this much intoxication? In the end, question would still be, who am I? Every day, become aware of the fresh title of yours. Every day, become an embodiment of that title. Become a dharma atma and then act. While you are performing karma, do not stop observing your dharma. The speciality of the confluence age is making your karma match your dharma. Just as the Father connected the broken relationship of souls and the Supreme Soul, in the same way, when you connect your dharma with your karma, you dharmatmas will then be revealed. Today, Bab Dada was watching you, children, your games to see which of you are moving along while matching your karma to your dharma. He was seeing which children are keeping hold of one and letting go of the other. When karma and yoga are combined, it becomes karma yoga. If you let go of one, it becomes like a swing with only one rope. A swing has to have two equal ropes. If one rope is broken or uneven, unequal, of what use would that swing then be? In the same way, when your dharma and karma are combined, you will constantly be able to swing in the swing of all attainments. Very deep point. When your dharma, when your swadharma is aligned to, your karma is very much aligned to your swadharma, then all attainments are revealed. If you shake while sitting on the swing of all attainments, you would experience being an embodiment of one who lacks many things. Because you don't know how to check yourself while moving along, instead of swinging, you begin to cry out loud. What can I do? How can I do this? Just as you ask people who have none of this knowledge whether they know the answer to the riddle of who I am, in the same way you should ask yourself, who am I? Do you know the answer to this question very well? There are 3 stages in this answer. First is to know yourself. Second is to accept yourself. Third is to move along while accepting that and to become an embodiment of that. First is samajna, samana, swarubanna. Know it, accept it, and become embodiment of it. So, what stage have you reached? All of you have passed the first stage of knowing. Knowing what? Knowing that I'm a soul, blissful soul, happy soul. You have also passed the stage of accepting. The third stage is to accept and to move along accordingly. It means to become an embodiment of it. Shanti Swarup, Sukh Swarup, Ananda Swarup. To become an embodiment of it. To what degree do you think you have passed in this? If we have become the form of that, is it possible for you to forget your form? Although it is wrong to consider yourself to be a body, you are unable to forget that even though you want to, because you have become that form, you cannot forget it even if you try to. You do forget, do you know? Similarly, keep all your titles in front of you and see whether you have become an embodiment of them. Baba reminds you every day of your title of Swadarshan Chakradari, spinner of discus of self-realization. Swadarshan Chakradari. Swarup, Swadarshan Chakradari. Therefore, check your confluence-aged form of Swadarshan Chakradari, spinner of discus of self-realization. Is it only in knowledge, in terms of acceptance, or is it in terms of your being an embodiment of it? Do you constantly spin the discus of self-realization? Or does looking at others make you forget to look at yourself? Even to look at your own body is like looking at others. You yourselves are a soul. Your body is external. Your body is matter. It is external. To be matter consciousness is to be influenced by matter, which means you spin the discus of looking at others. Paradarshan Chakradari. Since even looking at your own body is the same as looking at others, How can looking at the bodies of others be called Swadarshan Chakradhari? Wasteful thoughts and old sanskaras are also connected to body consciousness. The sanskara of soul consciousness, the sanskara of you souls are the sanskaras of the Father. You know the sanskaras of Baba. He is constantly world benefactor, merciful one, who uplifts souls and the bestower of blessings. Have you become the natural form of these sanskaras? Sanskaras of world benefactor, merciful one, bestower of blessings. In order to make these sanskaras, you would have to move along easily according to those in your thoughts, words, and deeds. Sanskaras are such that they make you, the soul, automatically move along according to them. Consider your sanskaras to be the automatic key, on the basis of which you continue to move along. When you wind up a toy doll with its key, it continues to dance. If you wind the key of the toy that is supposed to fall over, it will keep falling over. In the same way, your sanskaras are the key in life. So, have you made Baba sanskaras your original sanskaras? In other words, you refer to this saying, this is my nature, Swabhav. Let your nature become like that of Baba. And what is that? A constant bestower of blessings. One who constantly uplifts others and one who is constantly merciful. Vardata and somebody who is merciful and constantly uplifting others. Would you then have to labor? When you put who am I into the practical form and observe this dharma in your karma, it can then be said that you have become an embodiment of that. Otherwise, you will be included in the list of those who only know and accept. Constantly keep this awareness. This is my dharma. No matter what happens, whether through people, nature, or situation, you must remain constantly stable in your dharma. The slogan you have is, no matter what happens, even if I have to die, I will not relinquish my dharma. Remain constantly aware of this slogan and your promise. At this time, both old and new children of the previous cycle have come here. You are the oldest of all and also new ones. New children means those who are the youngest of all, those who are loved by all. Everyone loves new leaves. So, even though you may be new, you have claimed a number one rights. Constantly continue to make effort in this way. The first right you have claimed is that of purity. On the basis of purity, you claim all rights, including those of peace and happiness. Remain constantly number one in claiming your first right of purity. And you will also become number one in your attainment. Never let the foundation of purity weaken. This is how you can go fast even though you have come last. Bab Dada is pleased to see you, children, who have arrived here in order to claim your rights from him once again. Therefore, raise as much as you want. The too late board has not yet been put. And this is in 1981. And now it is already kind of too late because Baba doesn't even come now. All the seats are still empty at the time. They're not yet fixed. You can claim whatever number you want. Continue to move along with this such attention. Continue to move along with this much attention. Continue to become one who has all rights. Imbibe all specialities. And continue to become worthy. To those who are equal to Baba, in constantly observing their elevated dharma, while performing their elevated karma, to those who are constantly dharma atmas, to the embodiment of Swadarshan Chakradhari, spinners of discus of self-realization, to those who are embodiments of all attainments, Bapdada's love, remembrance, and namaste. Namaste. Take a pause. Let's take a couple of minutes. Let your attention naturally gravitate to your Swadharma. Totally free from any other awareness. Take your awareness beyond. And gradually take your heart beyond. And try to feel. Let your heart align to your Swadharma. Let your heart be full of peace. Let your heart be full of bliss and happiness. Your heart is totally aligned to your Swadharma. Stay in your Swaroop. Shant Swaroop. Sukh Swaroop. Anand Swaroop. Make yourself very stable in your Swadharma of Shanti, Sukh, and Ananda Swarup. Become antarmukhi and looking at your natural nature. Becoming antarmukhi and Swadarshana Chakradhari. And emerge all your 5 forms. In your pure, powerful form, in your seed stage. In your angelic form, in your body of light. Bestowing light. Very merciful. And extending blessings. Swa-darshan Chakradhari. And extending your virtues and powers like a devata. And uplifting every soul as a worship-worthy soul. Your Swadharma totally aligned to your natural nature, a Jnani soul, a Brahmin soul. Totally aligned to the nature of Baba, the bestower, the merciful one. One who uplifts everyone. Become Swadarshan Chakradhari. Being an embodiment of your natural dharma. Being a dharmatma. And aligning your karma to your natural sanskaras. Aligning your dharana with your dharma and extending it through your karma. Om Shanti, Shanti. Such a deep Murli. What are some of the things that resonated from this Murli? What are some of the challenges that we come across while aligning with your Swadharma? And how do we come across? Yeah, Girijaman.
Shanti Asha, by a long time. This, it's, as you rightly said, more than a deep Murli, it's a very deep philosophy.
Mm,
The words dharma, like even before we come to the Gyan, there are so many of these, what we call it as spiritual scientists. Like we have always learned dharma is nothing but just a moral direction for
mm,
action, karma, to bear positive results. Or they say it's like a righteousness, a duty. And karma, we generally call it as cause and effect. Dharma shows the way, karma reveals to you the result. And even there are so many spiritual scientists or saints who have said a true realization is predictated. Like if you are predictate to yourself before the action who you really are, that is the soul. And it has been proved by them that there are no karmas which are bound because we do our karmas as know and see as the soul. So our actions become like no bound, it's detached. So no karmas are sown. But when we believe, as in our philosophy, in Gyan, we say the thoughts, the words, the actions, and everything which we send across is karma. And Baba says in the Murli, it's an endless cycle. And now he says that karma has to be settled now, transformed, finalized, because it has to become a teeth, karma teeth to reach the final state. As far as karma is concerned, I could resonate in the Murli. But especially when he spoke about dharmatmas and dharma, I was thinking about because I always took our original dharma, our original religion, purity. There's nothing but purity. But today, a new kind of scope, and Baba spoke about uh, the puzzle of who am I and all. I was just trying to go through the puzzle to see now, as if I know dharma is knowing your original, but always for us, dharma, what is my original dharma, original religion? If a BK was asked, we would say purity. Purity is my original religion, purity of a thing. So, a sort of, I was just trying to say, could we really go deep on this philosophy of the dharma of purity and dharma of the self? Because dharma of the self, we have already heard from many of these spiritual scientists who say no and see as the soul, then no karmas are bound. It's a deep philosophy, but I would wanted to know if all of us really could bring in some more something about, like, especially there was one which I liked where Baba said he connects and dharmatmas connect. So that role of dharmatmas where Baba brought here, no, as if it was something very stunning for me. If suppose you could add or anyone, we could just get some more churning on this dharma and
mm,
karma. Om Shanti.
mm. Yeah, it's a really deep concept. The way we look at dharma as a religion, dharma as a series of rituals, dharma as you got to do some morality and all that kinds of do's and don'ts. But if you actually see when that dharma was actually started, none of the rituals were there, none of the do's and don'ts were there. The whole message that they came up with, for example, any dharmatma, for example, Buddha, when he came, all he was trying to say is align yourself to your natural nature. So when he was talking about when you go inside, you face your inner demons. And then when you sit still, which means when you're not giving into the inner temptations or desires, you you're not giving in, but you're just staying still or not engaging. all of these noises will dissipate, and then you naturally get aligned to your natural nature of this pure peace, pure bliss. And then that is what he was talking about. You feel nirvana, you feel like blissful, you feel more compassionate, you feel more loving, and all of the stuff, right? So when the religious founders came, the very basis of what they did, which is establishment of, or in other words, restoration of dharma, or bringing attention of the whole humanity back to their swadharma, is by they themselves connecting back to their swadharma and demonstrating that. And then to retain that swadharma, people came up with a lot of other things like, oh, what we should do, what we should not do, so that we can continue to hold on to our swadharma. And then we really lose touch with what was the real message, and then we just got stuck to the rituals without actually using rituals as a means to connect to our true nature. And then we started assigning dharma to the rituals rather than our natural nature. So I always feel that Jesus, when he came, he was telling that our natural nature is love. Buddha came and said our natural nature is peace and bliss. And everyone who came, who always came with a message of our natural nature, and then they aligned to it, and then they express that. So yeah, and then definitely our karma is also powerful, and there is a power in our presence and in our actions. Yeah, I'd like to hear any other thoughts on that.
So why I asked you the question, I remember when I was young, we were always given this one sentence: God sent his messages through the messengers. The messengers were glorified and his message was forgotten. That was, God was forgotten. So can you say when these dharmatmas came, that one link of the supreme was forgotten? Can that only can be a wrong direction of dharma? Can we assume that from as a Brahma Kumari or as a Jnani soul, that even though dharmatmas are there, Baba had to come to re-establish the dharma because the concept of the Param Atma was forgotten? Can we say that?
Mm, I so one I lately I've been reflecting on this point of drama. Drama is accurate, not only accurate, but it is also beneficial, benevolent. When I say benevolent, and especially when I see this point of the role that Dharmatmas played at that point is also very much needed to reconnect the souls back, not only to their natural nature, but also to God, right? To Baba. But because those who are following experience something nice, and then they saw only physical form, and then they start glorifying the physical form. And that has the problem. So in other words, whatever happened in that copper age, it was beneficial, because at that time, whoever were actually aligning to the message of the Dharmatmas, they were actually aligning to their Swadharma, and also actually aligning to Baba also. They get to feel some blissful energy coming from. But as people who are witnessing them also get to, we call something called halo effect, you know. So that atmosphere is very powerful. They get to experience that, and then they correlate that experience, blissful experience, to whoever they are witnessing, and then they attribute everything to that person, and were not able to connect back to God. And then there are more of those people, and then God is removed from the whole picture. So that was a side effect. But in fact, whatever happened at that time, it helped to some extent to reset or do some course correction of our consciousness. Our consciousness is out of alignment. It lost touch with its natural nature. It got aligned to something like nature of the body. And whatever they did some course correction of their consciousness, get back to its natural nature to some extent. And all of the dharmatmas did that, but the forces of the collective was so strong that it keep going out of alignment. Our consciousness goes out of alignment to its natural nature. And that is where whole entropy is going away from our true self, further and further, dissipating, scattered, spreading thin. Our consciousness is all over until the end. So, that in mind, Dharmatmas did what they have to do at that time, I feel. And their intention was never to take them out of Baba. They were anyhow way off from their true self and also off from connecting with Baba. Did I answer? That's just
It makes me to think. I think I'll wait for some more souls to give their ideas.
Anyone else have any thoughts, comments?
Shanti.
Shanti.
Yeah, so Baba says this is the time to make our karma match our dharma. So, so this is the time that we get this awareness, right, who we are, and then we will become that embodiment of it by practicing and stabilizing it in our dharma, right? So when we stabilize it, then automatically that's going to reflect on our action, right? So having completed that long journey, we forgot who we are. So now, just like Baba mentioned that a rope example, right? So two ropes has to be, equal, and then just like that, only then we can swing properly. Otherwise, it doesn't really give that sort of a soothing experience for us, right? So here, our effort would be to stabilize in our dharma, right? So that's the first stage, right? And then it will automatically reflect on our karma. So just like fire, if we take fire, so the natural nature of fire is heat, right? And then when it comes to action, then it will automatically burn, right? So sugar, natural nature is sweetness, and when we mix that with anything, right? So that makes wherever it is mixed, right? Whether you're making any bakery items or anything, so that really gives that sweetness, right? So similarly, I, the soul, my natural nature is peace. When I stabilize in that, um, and that when that becomes my natural nature, then it automatically reflects in my action, right? Yeah. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Sorry, I got disconnected. Internet went in and out. So I got a little glimpse. So what I heard, Brijit, is like there is a sweetness in connecting to our natural nature, and that is what is expressed through our actions.
Yes, right. Yeah, so first stage, like Papa mentioned about knowing. So we have already, now we know that who we are. And next is to bring that into action, right? Smriti and then Smriti Swarup. So
Mm.
what we lack is to come into that stage. One is knowing, second is becoming, and
Mm.
then the higher stages of being. Right. So I think we
Mm.
are at the stage of becoming now, right? Soul conscious. Nobody has. I think very few have become that stage of soul conscious. So there is it's a journey, right? So becoming to being, becoming is we are putting effort to become that. Being is a stage where we are natural, right? We are where we are not putting any effort, right? Our Swarup is that.
Mm.
So yeah, thank you. Also.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that day where I don't have to do anything and then everything is ready. And I think that is Satya or Karma Title.
Yeah, so when we become that, we don't need to really remember Baba. It automatically comes, right?
You're
When we are,
aligned. Yeah.
yeah, like
Mm. Thank you. Any other thoughts? It's really deep, Murli, and especially absorbing Baba's sanskaras. That's a big thing, you know. Yeah, we all souls, all 8 billion souls are children of God, but not all everyone can radiate Baba's qualities, you know.
so. Just one question here. See, we all know that naturally we are our Dharma is peace. Okay, so we have been in Parandam we were peace, and then Satyutrita we were peaceful, right? So we were with that karma. I mean, our action reflected that our natural nature of peace,
Mm.
right? So, and in Dwapara Yuga and Kali Yuga, we have been coming into body consciousness and then coming into that peaceless stage, right?
Mm.
So it took almost 2,500 years for us to come into that natural nature of body consciousness, right? Now,
Mm.
unknowingly, we learned this body consciousness. Now we have to go back to our original state, right? So, something we learned unknowingly. So now it's a process of unlearning what we have learned, right? So this, how, I mean, so the practice, so the things that we have unknowingly learned, right? It was 2,500 years, right? So just 100 years of practice. Is it really enough to go back to our natural nature?
Mm. Good question. And it took 2,500 years to lose ourselves. In this short time, can we pull it together? So yeah, so one thing that really uh, resonates with me is once I have experienced something, I cannot not experience it. In other words, once I have experienced something, I cannot ignore myself that I haven't experienced it. But having said that, if you take it to the next level, like Baba was telling, knowing, accepting, which is absorbing, right? Trying to stabilize yourself in that, accept it. And then when you're fully aligned, you become embodiment of it. So in these three phases, if we actually see, when we are trying to know, we are trying to understand, right? We are trying to understand, oh, soul, oh, it's not a physical thing. Oh, it is a eternal things. It is an energy and it is an energy of peace. We are trying to comprehend this whole idea of what I am as an eternal being. So we are trying to comprehend this with our head. And when we are trying to accept it, we are not only thinking about it, churning on it, but also we are accepting it means we stop thinking about it. We start engaging with it. That is when we are trying to accept it. And at that time is when we are trying to engage our heart. Head did its job, which is knowing, and heart is what which is trying to accept and which is trying to engage, which is trying to experience it. So once heart start engaging, accepting, and absorbing, and that's when the spirit comes alive, which is that energy of that the peace, that which is a natural nature, which is your eternal nature, which is my eternal nature, comes alive, where heart is also not trying to do anything to engage with it or experience it. It is filled with it because that energy is fully aligned. So if you try to look at the needle, every time the focus of attention when we were trying to understand is at the level of head. And once we take it a little deeper, it is at the level of feeling. Once you take it a little further, it is at the level of energy, and which is at the level of power, which is eternal power, which is always there, which is what we are trying to tap into. Once I get to experience and fill with myself with that energy, unlearning part happens. Unlearning of all that experiences of copper and iron ages will start. It just become a part of the drama. It's like a transient thing. It happened over. I cannot. I cannot deny it, but it does not affect me anymore because I already experienced it. But it does not have a big grip on my heart because I'm experiencing something deeper, not only deeper, but something which is eternal. So that experience, when heart is experiencing something deeper, which is deeper to the extent of eternity, can reset everything of transient copper and iron ages. That's when the real unlearning happens. And then especially when you're aligned to your natural dharma of who you are, like Swaroop, then it's like a reset button. So I think coming back to your question of 25,000 years of all of that and 100 years of this, with a so imbalance. But I think that is where Baba is making things more effective by taking our attention deep down to your spiritual awareness and then trying to engage with that. Oh, and then once we get a glimpse of it, it resets very fast. So I think the whole practice of what we are trying to do is getting back to our eternal self. Once we get a taste of it, we naturally latch onto it very quickly. Like especially when Baba says, like it's a game of 1 second, one snap. Like when you get a glimpse of it, like boom, you latch onto it. I mean that's how I am interpreting.
Yeah, thank you.
Harshabai, that was really wonderful to hear about how do we snap. If there is time, there is just one thing I would like to ask. See, Baba has told us constantly remain aware of your religion, no matter what. Then, of course, that par jaye jaye padaram na chodiye, he gives that slogan. And one more thing, what Baba speaks here even is about when he speaks about, he says, you have already been given your first right of purity. So he has very directly related our religion to purity and with the self. Could you, if you have got time, can you just correlate as you spoke? You spoke about the journey of the self down the ages and all. Even this first right, Baba is saying, because it's only on the base of purity you will get everything. You will become number one and all. And could you just, as you were relating about the cycle of the self, even the purity, the right which we got now, how it will really help us with this new knowledge of dharma of the self. If you could just relate it. Thank you.
And I mean, how I see purity is nothing but something which is eternal. Purity is something which is eternal. Impurity is something which is transient. So when we use the term like, oh, my swadharma is purity, which is, of course, swadharma of anything is purity. And again, what is purity? Purity is a percentage. You know, if you say this is 22 carat, this is 99.999% gold. The purity of that thing is the natural nature of it, aligned to its natural nature, is 99.999%, which is it is naturally connected to its eternal self, only 99%. There is still that 0.0001% which is not itself. Follow, right? So if it could, this swadharma of purity can be for anything, even for matter. When it is aligned to its natural nature, when you remove everything which is not what it is eternally is, that is pure. So once I, not only in my head, but also not only my expression part of it, my actions, expressions, interactions, experiences, and all of the stuff, but one step deeper, not only my thoughts, not only my feelings, my sense of self, my self-awareness is aligned to something which is eternal, that is pure, that is purity. And then everything else on the outer layers, like heart, my feelings, my thoughts, my expressions, my words, my behavior, everything else is aligned to who I am, right? So I feel that is true. Like when I am aligned to my eternal self, that is pure, and everything else resets by itself. And how to keep it alive? Baba gives different approaches, whereas religion gives different approaches. There is rituals and then practices, do's and don'ts, all that kinds of stuff at the external level. Whereas what Baba says to keep that true self alive is smriti, smriti, smriti. Like remember, remember, remember. Keep aligned, stay aligned, stay aligned, stay aligned to your true self, like as an eternal soul, who you are, who you belong to, what you are here for, and things like that. Like Smriti is where Baba puts the guardrails of keeping that thing alive. Did I answer?
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's a good churning for me.
Thank you. Let's take a quick minute. Align to your natural nature, to your eternal nature. Bring your awareness to something which is always there and always will be there. Your true self and Baba, who's always there for us in his true self. Aligning my heart with Baba restores my true self. Bring Baba into your heart, into your mind, and just allow Baba's presence in your heart to restore your natural self, restoring your natural powers and presence. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Om Shanti. Thank you to Baba. Thank you, Harsha Bhai. Thank you, Divine Family. See you tomorrow at 5 a.m. Till that time, wish you all a happy Independence Day.